Hey guys, doing another deck check today. Today we'll be doing Nephonic's Paladin deck. So let's just let him talk about his deck and we'll grill him with questions afterwards. Take it away, man.
So this is my Galahad from 3.0. So I chose Galahad simply because Palamedes, it's too inconsistent. I thought Durangal has a much more potential with Palamedes only at much more high attack, but this has much more consistency in the deck. So start off with Durangal. Simple because it's a starting vanguard for Galahad and it's able to search for the level 1. I run 6 crit triggers, 4 opponent and 2 crits of blue, 4 heals. Heals in this deck are pretty much compulsory rather than starting off with other draw triggers. 2 stands. Stands is simple because when it stands the rear guard usually it doesn't pop up until the grade 3s. So when it stands up either Soul Savior or Galahad, I'll be swinging for 16 or 15. So against Tsukiyomi or Kagero, I'll usually be hitting with Galahad for 16 or I'll be hitting for 15. So against Overlord or Tsukiyomi, with 16 makes them guard for 10, and if they have 10 guards out, I'll be swinging for 15 down to level 1s. 2 Isolde, I run just a couple of less grade 3s in most decks, so I don't find the need to block and ditch them from hand. I'd rather have them out in field. Borugars, I run Borugars over Toy Pickle because Toy Pickle, although it's much quicker to get off, it's less inconsistent in staying on field because they'll usually aim for your grade 3s as soon as they see that combo of Palamedes or Toy Pickle out in the field. So once Borugars pops out in the field, although it's much later to come into play, once it gets on the field, it's there. 4 Galahad's obvious for the Durangal and Galahad, and Pongal, simple because it searches out the Soul Savior, and late game, if I want to go into Soul Savior and Soul Blast, is a good finisher. But also it gives me that 6 soul early game, so I can counterblast with Galahad. I run 2 Akane and 2 Seiren. Seiren combos with Galahad's counterblast, so with Borugal or Pongal behind it, I can counterblast and boost it up 4k and make it usually swing for about 26 to 27k. Akane fetches out Borugal for bigger swings, or it fetches out the Pongal to counterblast and soul charge. Blaster Blades, just quite simple. It's a much higher beat stick than Gordon, and it has the ability to counterblast and get rid of any of my opponent's level 2 or higher rear guards. I usually don't play it in the Vanguard circle unless necessary. Galahad level 2, obvious again, to get to grade 3. My grade 3 lineup, I run 4 level 3 Galahads. 4 level 3 Galahads instead of usually 2 to 3, which most people only play, just for the consistency. And also, this deck, because it only runs 6 crits, I just tend to use its counterblast a lot more than most people. Usually I'll only counterblast with it a couple of times, one time usually, then going all out because you wait for them to null guard, which a lot of people don't. They usually try it all out and then they lose all their fuel and then they lose to a null guard. Soul Savior Dragons. 3, I just think 8 clutters up the deck too much. I find 6 is too less, so I just went with 7. Soul Savior Dragon instead of Alfred. Alfred, although it's a high swinger, it uses up too much counterblast. And in the rear guard, it can't swing for 20k usually. So Soul Savior Dragon, in a rear guard position, usually you swing for a decent amount, but also in the Vanguard position, it also swings much easier for 20k. Whether as Alfred, you have to fill up your rear guards.
So, first question, I guess, is obviously Paladins have probably the most support out of anyone. Have you tried running any other grade 3s? Like, have you tried maybe only running 1 or 2 Soul Saviors and trying Palamedes, or have you tried Boars or any other grade 3?
I've made about 3 different variations of it. I've tried Galahad, Palamedes, and Alfred. I've tried Galahad, Alfred, and I've tried Galahad, Soul Savior, Alfred. The Galahad, Alfred, as I said before, it uses up way too much fuel. But in the Vanguard, it's very useful for swinging for 20k, and having this in the rear guard position and swinging for 20k as well. Although when I was using that deck, I only played Toy Poogles and not Bottlegal. So they usually swing and kill off my Galahads or Alfreds early game, and I'd run out of steam. With Alfred Palamede, the Galahad Palamedes, Palamede is a very vanguard or position card, because usually when you swing for 22k with Toy Poogle behind it, if it gets in the rear card position, they'll instantly pop off. The card's the same, so it runs out of fuel quickly as well. So I found Soul Savior Galahad to be the most consistent deck. Soul Savior, Soul Blast, late game. Usually Borogals will be replaced by either the Galahad level ones that are left over in deck, so you usually don't have to worry about them losing their steam from the 6k Soul.
Do you want to just go through each matchup against every other clan? Just say quickly, what's good, what's bad, what beats you, and what's a pushover.
Alright, so most struggle I've had with this deck is probably Tachikaze. Tachikaze just beats for too much, and even though I'm 11k, the triggers of putting the critical triggers back into deck usually overpowers me. Also, they have the 11k straight off the bat with the level 2 cannon gear. Also, just the constant of bouncing cards back to hand gives them multiple guards, or it allows them to swarm again. I only have level 2, so and less level 3s. So with level 2s, they're very low at beaters. I don't have any 10ks or 11ks like Tachikaze do. So as soon as usually they'll try and pick off my grade 3s on the field first, and that allows me not to split beat at the Vanguard unless I have 6k Soul and Bottle Girls, or I have the grade 2s with at least a Reguard behind it. So best matchups I have would be probably Pale Moon.
Everyone's good against Pale Moon.
Yeah, I think everyone has a Pale Moon matchup.
Mention that, man.
Kagado, probably, because they just seem to, a lot of players I've noticed use up a lot of their counterblast quicker than most people. Obviously, Silent Tom being the exception. He tends to run card sifters like the Elmo, which gives him the draw triggers as well to pitch and all that. So he usually tends to have a lot more guard in hand than a lot of other people. He manages, although Kagado players, they don't have a lot of rear guards usually. They usually tend to rely on the grade 3 beat sticks, and they have a lot of weaker rear guards behind them besides the bar. Semi matchup would probably be Spike Brothers. They tend to combo a lot against this deck because of the weak guards, and they tend to attack them quicker. Grand Blue, it's not too much trouble with Grand Blue. They tend to rely on swarming the field as well, but I think Paladin just has more support enough to get over that. Although they can swing for a lot high damage with the Dragon Skull. I think once you get that off the field and you get rid of their Shaman, it's most easy flow from there.
What about Oracles and Novas? Go through those two quick.
Nova Grapplers, although they have multiple attacks and beat sticks, it's very luck sucky at the moment, especially with the triggers and the grade 3s. Although I've seen quite a few good decks that use Rutal's effect to stand and combo off a lot. Oracles actually are a bit of a struggle for me, especially because they just have constant guards. They usually have a lot of hand advantage, and for this deck, most of them play for null guards. So with this deck, when I'm always constantly trying to draw out the null guards with the counterblast, they'll usually always drop a null, or they'll always have enough cards to block.
So you played a lot of Paladins pre-Barkgal banning. What are your thoughts on Barkgal being banned as a starting Vanguard, and what do you think of decks that had Barkgal in them?
Although a lot of people thought the banning of Barkgal was really bad, I thought it was a bit necessary, because in a lot of communities there was too much Paladin decks. This either forced them to look at Paladins in a different perspective, e.g. Galahad or Palamedes, hence why they released 2 new sets of Paladins in set 3. Or they can play 2 to 4 Barkgals in a deck, and that's what I was playing before this. I was playing 2 Barkgals in a deck, and I was comboing with Soul Savior and Alfred. For the bad perspectives though, just during that little period between set 3 and Paladins, I thought it was a bit harder to play with because they just didn't have too many options, and a lot of people were trying to build decks around just Barkal in the deck rather than as a starting vanguard.
So we've already seen a couple of previews from set 4. By the time this video is out, we'll probably be on the precipice. So what are you looking forward to if you're going to play any other decks or see any other matchups? What do you like? What are you afraid of?
I'm actually very afraid of Stoneblood Kruger, just because it can combo very well, especially with the rear guard that stands with it. I'm also a little bit worried about Shadow Paladins. Just they're a lot bigger beat sticks than the normal Paladins in general. I think the new set gives a lot of good boosts for the underlooked clans at the moment. So hopefully the community will play a lot better.
So what's your views on the clan as a whole right now before 4.0 is on the precipice of being released?
Paladins, I guess after the banning of Barkal, they were underlooked as a low tier clan instantly, but I think now that we're seeing a bit more variations of Galahad and Palamedas, I think we're going to see probably a few more better decks out there. I think it's still quite a very good clan and much more consistent than a few more others out there, simply just because they don't have enough support.
Okay guys, so you've seen this deck. Feel free to post any thoughts that you have about it in the comment section below. And if you have any deck build yourself that you'd like us to see, or you think you got a better deck out there than this guy has, feel free to post a video response. And we'll see you next time.